This is how much money is on the Hustler table tonight, as much as this $1 million home in Las Vegas. I'm looking for an upgrade of my house, so I'm going for every last dollar on the table. You're going to see mid-5-figure pots, massive swings, and even a 6-figure pot, including the largest pot I've ever played in my entire life, amounting to nearly $200,000. Let's get into a poker session of a lifetime. Back at Hustler with another $50,000 buy-in. We start off this session with Mars, raising under the gun to $300 here in this session. Nick calls in early position, and I peel ace-queen offsuit on the button. Given the action here, definitely incentivized to squeeze a lot, I think. There's a lot of value in bumping up the size of the pot with a good hand and making the pot bigger. So let's do it. I raise it up to $1,400 and action folds back to Mars, who decides to get spicy. He decides to mix in a 4-bet to $5,000. Nick gets out of the way and folds, and now on to me. Boy, I'm never folding here with this hand, but definitely a little bit cautious and a little uncomfortable because Mars is repping a very, very strong range. So we're both playing plenty deep behind as well. It's time to mix it into the streets. I make the call with ace-queen offsuit, and we're off to a flop of king-queen-6 rainbow. Flopping second pair here, Mars starts off with a small bet of $2,500. For starters, I'm never going to be folding here to this bet, but like I said, I'm trying to be cautious because Mars can have all of the ace-kings, pocket queens, those hands that just have me drawing dead. So I start off with a call for $2,500, and we're going to the turn, which is the ace of spades. Pretty cool turn now that I have 2 pair, but still a little bit tricky though, because like I said, I'm still dead to those hands that I just mentioned. But when Mars starts off with a check now on this turn, it's a little bit tricky to what I want to get value from. With 2 pair, I think I should be betting a lot, although sometimes checking makes sense. I decided to bet out $4,400 here because 2 pair is a strong hand, and when Mars makes the call, I don't feel amazing about it because I don't even know what hands I even beat at this point. What naked ace highs does he have? I guess we're going to find out when the river is the 8 of clubs. Mars checks again, and at this point, I think it's pretty tough to get a whole lot of value. So for those reasons, I decided to take the passive route and just check back to see what I'm up against, and Mars shows the ace-9, and that's pretty good news to me. I guess he had one of the very few hands that I actually could have bet for value, but I guess I'm starting off the day with a win. There's no complaints about that because a few minutes later, I get involved with Mars again. I raise ace-jack offsuit under the gun, and Mars makes the call, and we see an insane flop of jack deuce. Yep, just trips with the top kicker. I start off with a check here because I think I whiff this board a lot, and Mars checks it back. When the turn comes a king, I decide to check one more time, playing in flow, and maybe Mars can hit the king or he could bluff at it. And when I check, he does end up taking the bait and bets out $400 here. And, you know, with as strong of a hand as I have here, I certainly have to try to bump up the size of the pot. So I check raise to $1,500. And for an $1,100 more, I see Mars making the call. Got to love that. I'm praying he's a king or maybe a draw. River comes an ace, boating up. Wow. This just keeps getting better and better for me, and at this point, I actually get a sense that this card might be good for me. I'm not sure if a king can hero call a big bet here, but a draw like queen 10 conveniently gets there. So trying to target a queen 10, a non-believing king, I size way up here to almost double the size of the pot for $6,000. And with my overbet, Mars calls with a pretty good hand with the queen 10. It's a pretty sick cooler to have that river show up, and all of a sudden I win a massive one. Another really nice pot coming my way. Get used to this, everyone. This is just the beginning. The following hand, I'm on the $200 straddle, and we see Wesley raising it up to $600 with 10 offsuit Broadway cards. Certainly fun to play, so I decide to defend here. We're going to a flop which comes 10-6 deuce to clubs. Pretty good flop for me with top pair overall. I start with a check, and Wesley bets pretty small to $350. Facing a small bet here and playing infinite dollars deep behind, I think my hand could use some protection with queen 10. I think my hand could be good here a lot of the time. So I check raise my top pair to $1,200. Just trying to either get value or just protect my hand against overcards. And with my check raise, this gets Wesley to call. Now, going to a turn which comes a 6, and when the middle card pairs, it seems pretty neutral for both of us. Wesley can certainly have a lot of overpairs as played, or maybe even a flush draw, so it seems like I'm in a way behind or way ahead situation. Being out of position, I opted to check, and this allows Wesley to bet 3,000. Pretty big bet compared to the size of the pots, and considering, like I said, I'm either way ahead or way behind, calling just makes the most sense. Let's see a river here, which is going to be another board pair deuce. Just overall a brick from my perspective, though. I check again, playing in flow, and Wesley, oh boy, Wesley, bets out 15,000, overbetting the pot. It's a big one, and I think the dynamics are still the same, especially with this sizing. I'm either winning this versus missed draws, or I am behind losing to an overpair. Looks like there's only one way to find out. I flick in some calling chips, and turns out it's the right decision this time. Almost a $40,000 pot comes my way, and I just gotta say, Wesley is pretty tough to play against, as I think most people wouldn't take this line as a bluff. So if I had anything other than the 10, I'd most likely fold here, but gotta give kudos to Wesley for playing his hand really well. Clearly, everything is working out for me so far. I've chipped up to almost $100,000 after starting with 50, and then this hand happens. I'm on the $200 straddle once again. Wesley raises to 600 from the cutoff. Alex on the $100 straddle makes the call, and I see pocket eights. I call as well. And shout out to the amazing dealer Lauren, who plops down a sick flop. Who cares how it happened? There's an 8 on the board. As you can see, it's connected with all 3 of us as well, so get ready for some fireworks. Action checks to Wesley, who puts in a pot-sized bet of $2,000. And guess what? Alex seems to have quite the decision to my right. And oh my god, he raises to 7,000. What a dream spot for me. I'm trying to think things over, trying to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to raise again, or do I just want to call the 7,000? No matter what I do, the action seems really strong. But the one thing swaying me towards a call is that given Wesley is involved, he covers me. We're playing like $90,000, $100,000 deep. It's insane. It seems really advantageous to just make the call here on a board as dynamic as this. I'd rather try to take a lower variance approach than shove as much money in the middle, because I think the turns and rivers can change the board texture a lot. So if anyone has a combo draw here, which seems pretty likely given it's 3 ways, then we're basically just flipping, and I don't want to flip for $90,000 each. So I decided to just make the call of the $7,000. And here, Wesley re-raises himself. He doesn't care about the 7,000. He re-raises to 27K. Oh my god, this is madness. Clearly, when I see this, now I just think I have to commit my stack, no matter what Alex wants to do, whether he wants to go all in or fold. And when Alex ends up actually folding, makes a really disciplined fold with top pair, top kicker, it's showtime now. I count out my chips just so I can have an accurate count of how much I'm going all in for. It seems somewhat responsible, right, to have an idea at least. So I think count it out, and I know, well, this is going to be a $90,000 4-bet jam. Who makes this stuff up, right? Never done this before, but I announce all in, and Wesley calls so quickly, suddenly. Almost a $200,000 pot brewing in by far the biggest pot of the night. The hands get revealed, and I see that it's basically a flip. I have 70% chance to win. Wesley has 30%, and I just kindly try to ask Wesley, does he want to run it twice? And snap, get denied. When I see the rejection of running it twice, I am sweating this pot hard, trying to put all my concentration to summon some red cards out of Lauren. Please, one time!
Mars will buy it too. Wait, do you want to
brick on the turn?
Now? I'll buy it. How much is insurance?
I could do some insurance.
2.5, you want mine?
You cash out your equity right now?
He'll sell it.
我想想
I give it 3.6.
Oh,
3.6?
what does that mean?
3.8. Ooh.
Almost. And Rampage holds. Top 2 for Wesley is no good. and Rampage wins a $188,000 pot.
Pocket eights holds, and wow, the biggest double up of my entire life. $188,000. Just an insane pot to win. And for those who saw this hand real time on live stream, I'm glad you're able to see it. And if you're new to the channel, no, winning $200,000 pots is not a regular thing, but it could happen again. So subscribe for more content, because I know a lot of you guys aren't subscribed. But in all seriousness, I'm speechless about this pot. I'm just glad it went my way. But the sun run isn't over yet. And what I mean by that is that here, in this next situation, Adam opens under the gun to 300. Jimmy next to act 3 bets to 1,000. And I have aces? Oh man, what an insane spot. Time to raise it up. I size to 4,500 as I'm out of position here. Adam ends up folding, but Jimmy makes the call. I'm expecting he may have a really good hand here, and we're playing plenty deep. We're off to a flop of 10, 8, 5, 2 clubs. I think this board overall seems like a bunch of bricks to me, and I don't expect Jimmy to 3-bet many pairs like this, unless he has pocket 10s sometimes. So I'm trying to get my stacks in versus an overpair. I decided to deviate from normal small bets and go huge. I bet about the size of the pot for $10,000 here. And when Jimmy makes the call, oh my God, I expect him to have an overpair, and maybe this is just a huge cooler. Let's just commit stacks on the turn, hopefully. The turn is a jack. This really isn't the best looking card for me, sadly. Of course, pocket jacks can certainly be in Jimmy's range, but I think if he has queens or kings, I still could get it all. So given how I've played this hand, if my opponent has a set, so be it. I announce all in. I shove, and Jimmy goes deep into the tank here. And while Jimmy takes his time thinking, I'm just staring at the board, praying for a call. Of course, any hand that beats me would have snapped my all-in by now. And then Jimmy folds. Immediately after his fold, he said he had kings and put me on aces. Oh no. I am speechless, and I just got completely owned. My unconventional line here bites me. Jimmy wrecks my soul. Even though he lost money, he still wrecked my soul by folding kings here. And nothing to say, but just a crazy solid opponent. Very tough to play against. Gotta give props to you, Jimmy. You wrecked me in this hand. After Jimmy owns me, this next hand, Mars actually got abducted by aliens, and they played the hand for him here. So Alien Mars here decides to raise it up to $600. Cutoff makes the call, and I have pocket 9s in the small blind. Everything's going well for me so far. Seems like a decent time to squeeze, so why not here? Everything's been working out for me. Like I said, I 3-bet to 3,000, and Alien Mars makes the call. We're off to a flop of ace, 9, 4, 2 clubs. Come on, are you guys even surprised I have a set at this point? Another set in a huge pot. I start off with a $2,300 bet, and I see some amazing news as Alien Mars raises me to $6,300. What a dream. Here, I'm thinking things over, and I think part of me actually wanted to put in another raise, considering how deep Alien Mars' stack is, but I opted for the conventional decision because I played unconventionally with aces, and that screwed me. I decided on a call, so just flat calling the raise. We're off to a turn, which comes the King of Diamonds. Now, pot obviously brewing. There are lots of draws available, and I check it over, where Alien Mars decides to bet out 13,000. Okay, let's think of what I want to do here. Given the dynamic of this board, I definitely want to get more money in the middle here. And I actually debate on a few different sizings because I think I want a check raise. I thought 30,000 or anywhere up to 45,000. And I opted somewhere in between, a little bit on the larger side though. I opted to go for a check raise of $40,000. Yeah. This pot's getting serious, and it's a really big sizing, and it would easily set up a river shove. In hindsight, though, maybe it's a tad too big here because Alien Mars goes deep into the tank, and after a few minutes facing my check raise, he folds. Folding 2 pair. can't feel great because now in 2 massive spots, I have had opponents make some really sick hero folds versus me where I didn't make the maximum. Of course, it's really nice because I still win some relatively big pots still, but losing out on a lot of value like this still kind of hurts. But anyways, nice fold to Alien Mars. But moving on to the last big hand of the night. Big surprise, I have another big hand. Pocket jacks, I raised up to 600. I get Jimmy to make the call on the button, and Wesley now in the big blind, 3 bets to 3,000. You already know where this is going. I'm not folding here. I call, and that allows Jimmy to make the call. So with already $9,000 in the middle, let's see how this goes. Everyone, guess the flop. I'll give you guys a few seconds to think, but guess what you think the flop may be. And here, if you said a jack, you are correct, because the sets never end today. It is just insane. Wesley here starts off with a pretty good looking board for him, to be honest, for $3,000. I have a set. I decide on just making the call. I don't think a raise makes too much sense. I wouldn't really be happy with a diamond rolling out though, and we're off to a turn heads up, which comes a 6 total brick, and now Wesley slows down and checks. Here, sitting with a set, that means I bet, right? That's kind of how you play poker. I decided to throw out $8,000 in the middle. It's almost half pots, and this $8,000 bet is when magic happens. He raises! Oh my god, how do I get so much action when I hit sets? He check raises to $30,000. I mean, another dream scenario. Do I think he'll play pocket kings or queen 10 this way? Rather unlikely, but I guess possible. Overall, the plan is to simply call and hold on to the river. So maybe I'll potentially call off a 70,000 river shove. Let's see what happens. I make the call and hoping to not see a diamond with $75,000 already in the middle. The river is the 8 of hearts, as clean as I can ask for. What is unfortunate is that Wesley now decides to check. And it seems a little bit like a give up in this line, so I guess it's my turn to try to go do the bidding and go all in. If he somehow has a hand that I can get value from, I've got to at least try, right? I shove, putting Wesley all in, and he snap folds, but just another casual $75,000 pot coming my way to end an insane, insane night of poker. After a massive session, this is what you do. We're in line of all of these cars. So I decided what a great time to make an outro while waiting for the in and outs. I don't know what to say, guys. This was the sun run of a lifetime, and it happened at the biggest stakes. This is usually like, I always make this joke of like how I always just sun run in 1-3 but not on streams. I can no longer say that anymore because now, after hitting 5 sets, like this is like the session that people dream about, and somehow I didn't make the maximum. I didn't make the maximum aces versus kings, didn't make the maximum set versus 2 pair. Overall, I'm not bitching and complaining. Just don't know what to say because it's crazy how much you think you can win in just one little cash game that I played for about 6 hours, 5.5 hours. So let's go over it. Why not? After a monstrosity of a vlog, shout out to Carl who's next to me for editing this. In the game for $50,000, I was out of the game for $280,900, which is a profit of basically equivalent to my biggest tournament win ever, and I did it in 6 hours. What the hell? People always ask like, how much do I tip? Today, I will say this, I won a lot. I tipped $1,500. So there's that. Shout out to the dealers. Thanks for dealing me heat. Thanks to Ryan for the invite to Hustler. I will certainly be back. Hopefully you enjoyed it all that watched it live. Pretty sick to recreate this video and relive it, and that's all I have to say. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sticking to the end. The numbers are insane. I just want the sun run to keep lasting forever because then we get to make more ridiculous vlogs. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sticking to the end. Hit that like button. If you don't hit a like on this video, then I don't know what else I can do to get a like from you. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.